Famous for the worst reasons, Iran's morality police is back in the spotlight. This time the officials made it official. They're talking about the hijab once again. But this law seems to be a little different. We tell you how.
Pages of the calendar slowly turn as guarded policemen reappear in Iranian squares, hawking from the sides. Their job is to ensure women and men are sticking to the country's legally abiding dress code. Once again, the focus is the headscarf known as the hijab. Iran's state media has announced the return of the morality police. 10 months after the death of Mahsa Amini, the officials now resume patrols to make women comply with strict Islamic codes.
The police have no choice but to, starting today, deploy both motor and foot patrols across the country to give warnings to these women who unfortunately paid no attention to the consequences of unconventional attire and insist on breaking the norms. Should they fail to comply with police orders, they will be confronted legally and be referred to the judiciary.
The Gasht-e-Irshad, or guidance patrols in English, are special police units tasked with ensuring the respect of Islamic morals. They detain people who are perceived to be improperly dressed. The Iranian law is based on their interpretation of the Sharia. Under this, women are obligated to cover their heads with a headscarf and wear loose-fitted long clothes so as to disguise their figures. In September 2022, Iran descended into chaos. Thousands were on the streets venting out against the morality police and senior ruling clerics of the Islamic Republic. The resistance was triggered by a now infamous incident: the death of a 22-year-old Kurdish woman, Mahsa Amini. Amini was arrested by the morality police for a reason as trivial as her hair showing from the headscarf. 3 days after detention, she died. The police claim an unknown disease behind her death, while her family accuses officials of killing Amini while in the re-education center. Her death triggered months-long protests, where morality police were visibly absent from the streets. The government instead deployed alternate means to ensure that the rules are followed. These included the closure of businesses whose staff did not conform to the rules and installing cameras in public places to track down offenders. Moral police are now back, and so is the Iranian rebellion.
They cannot impose it like before. The number of people who do not obey is too high now. They cannot handle all of us. The last thing they can do is use violence and force against us. They cannot do it.
Hijab was not always a compulsory item of clothing in Iranian culture. Women wore them actively, but because they considered it a part of their identity, their beliefs and their culture, not because of a mandate. Wearing a headscarf became compulsory for Iranian women after the 1979 Islamic Revolution. They have been protesting against the dress code for years now. But there is another facet to it that is hardly discussed. It does not take into consideration the different forms of dresses worn by Iran's various ethnic and religious groups. For years, authorities have promoted the black chador, a large piece of cloth that only leaves the face exposed. Iran is a mixed society. It has Persians, Kurds, Arabs, and Turkmens, to mention just some sections. Each of these groups have their traditional clothing. Their scarves differ in the way they look and the way they are worn. The resistance is not so much about the hijab, but about how the government is enforcing it. It is the combined frustration against the Islamic Republic, people's protest for a democracy, and against the clerics. It is a fight for their rights that only starts at the headscarf.